Hey guys, SGT Nickel, and this is a Remington VTR 597, and what we're going to be doing is taking it apart, giving it a clean, and putting it back together again. I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. There's the hard way and there's the easy way. I just did the hard way and it really sucked. It was a piece of shit, and I finally got it back together, and now I'm going to show you the easy way because I don't recommend ever doing it the hard way. So, let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this plate. Comes off with these 3 Allen tools. You just need the right size. You thread them off. Now, you don't want to tighten them, or like when you do them back, you don't want them too tight. You'll end up stripping these suckers. So just keep that in mind. You just want everything just snug when you're tightening these bolts. If you reef them right down, you'll end up stripping the shit out of them, and you'll never get it undone again. So just something to keep in mind, and it shouldn't take very long. I'm hoping this only takes me a maximum of 20 minutes to do. So let's see what we can do. Got one plate off, now we're going to flip it around, get off this plate. And they're the same screws, so you just dump them in the same place. What I like to do is try and keep everything together as you take it off, so when you put it back together, it's easy to find, but also it's somewhat in order, that you can put it back together in order. Now we're not going to take the trigger grouping apart. That's the hard way. I accidentally sort of did that when I was trying to do this video before. It was probably for the better, because I ended up cleaning all my trigger grouping and all the springs and pieces, but it took me about 3 hours to figure out how to put it back together again. It was just a lot of fiddling with stupid little springs. Real aggravating. Almost threw the gun across the room. So, we're not going to go into that. I don't recommend doing that. Remington doesn't recommend doing that. They say just send it in if there's problems with that trigger grouping, and they'll fix it. So, there's no reason you should need to ever take it out. Now, we're going to need to take off this pistol grip to get to a bolt to take this back end off. So, what it is, just an Allen key that fits in here. You're going to have to find out what sizes they are if you're using this gun. I don't pay attention to my Allen key sizes. I just use the ones that fit. A little bit of trial and error, and then you get it. So I can't tell you what size they are. You'll have to figure that out. And then you just use a smaller one inside here. So this thing threads into this one. And then there's a hole right directly straight here. And in there is a little Allen nut that you're going to need to undo. So, and you don't want these things reefed down too tight, because, like I say, it's going to be hard to take apart when you need to clean it. So, just undo that, and we're almost done. There we go. That back end just comes off. And now all I'm going to do is take out this one pin. All these pins stay. Don't touch them. Only this one. That's where I sort of made a mistake earlier. I pushed all those pins out and lost my trigger grouping as I pulled it all out and had to figure out how to put it back together again. So that pin just comes out. It's just the one pin, and the whole trigger grouping comes out. You'll want to lock your hammer. Just keep it cocked. Just set it down. You can clean out inside here. Mine's already clean because I've already done this today. This piece just basically comes out real easily. It's your extract. It's not your extractor. It's your hold open safety for the mechanism. There's a little spring on here. You might want to retighten that on occasion if your hold open action isn't really working that well. It's a real finicky piece. I wish that they didn't even bother throwing this in there and made something else, because I gotta say, this is probably the shittiest piece of the whole gun. It doesn't work very well as it is, and the way it just goes together, it's just pure crap. There's nothing holding in but this stupid little cotter pin. It's got no threads on it, so I warn you about that. This gun is not for a beginner shooter. If you want one of these, I highly recommend be a experienced shooter, know how guns work, and love cleaning guns, because this thing's a fucking bitch to clean all the time. So we got these 2 little Allen nuts in there you're going to need to take out, and that's going to get your whole bolt system out. This one little hammer piece, you're just going to need to pull that out. Just set it there. If you don't pull it out, it's going to be hard to to get your bolt out of the slide. So I'm just looking for my Allen tool that fits. I think it's this one. And we just thread them right out. So I hope you can see this. That should be in view. And we're just taking out these two back set screws, I guess is what they are. They're an Allen net set screw. So they come out, and we don't want to lose those, so we're going to set those over here. And then you're going to pull out your bolt just by doing this. And then you can pull out your two rods, and you have these two springs and your bolt. So this is the time where you clean now your rifle. You would take a rag, you'll clean out the whole inside of here. You're going to take your wire brush, you're going to push it through, just through there, back out, and your mop. You're going to push through. And what I recommend with your mop is when you push it through, it's through, now you take it off. And you'll want to use soil cleaners and things like that doing this. I've already done this, so I'm just showing it as a demonstration. You'll want to take your mop off when you come out. If you pull the mop through, back up through, you're going to collect a whole bunch of crud inside of here that you just took out of your barrel. So you want to keep that clean just by taking that off, and then you just take your rag and you wipe out the inside again. So that's as much as you're really going to need to take this gun apart as far as cleaning goes. Now we're ready to put it back together. So you take your bolt, you've cleaned your bolt, we'll pretend we cleaned it. I already did this, so that's why. There's a little extractor here. You really got to make sure, first of all, it's there, and second of all, that it's free moving. And the way you do that is just clean it. Make sure there's no crud hanging on it, and stuff like that. I got some thread on there. Okay, so next, we just drop a bolt back into place. Now, I find you put your springs in just ever so slightly into your bolt like so. And then you can actually take this out for now. What I like to do is put your rods on partially. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this on and then try to thread the springs onto the rod so it's behind the bolt. I'm going to drop this, and that went into place. I'm just going to set that there. Now I'm going to do the next one. So what I need to do is thread that spring onto the rod without wrecking the spring. If you wreck the spring, you might as well just go out and buy a new gun because you broke your gun. There. So they just slide on like that, and then you push your rods in. And then at the front here, there's going to be a little gap that your rods are going to need to fall into. And what I find the best thing to do is just pull your bolt back so you can see them, and just feed them in there. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but bear with me and I'll show you. Okay, there. So now it's in, but when I pull this bolt back, these rods are going to come out of my head. So you got to put your set screws back into place. When you put your set screws in, you don't reef them on. You just set them in until they bottom out. You don't even snug them. Because what happens is you want those rods to sit loose. If you snug them, you almost bow the rod, I guess, and then your bolt gets jammed. It's not going to be very smooth. So as you can see, I'm turning it. Right there, it touched. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to snug it. These are very important not to snug. When you put the back end of the gun back on, it's going to cover those, so they're never ever going to back out. So recoil of the gun is not going to affect them. They're just going to sit and float in there, and that's really all they need to do. So there. You take a little grab piece for the your mechanism, just snaps back in there. That's it. Now we're going to put this back together. So I'll start off with my trigger grouping. This is the magazine port, so that goes right underneath this section. You sort of just rock it in, It's really easy. Make sure that your hammer's not up. Push it down so it clicks. It's just a lot easier to put together. And then you slide this cotter pin back into place, just like that. And now I'm ready to put my my pistol end back on, or my back end. It's not really a pistol, I agree, but it does have a pistol grip on it. So this just threads back on real quick, real simple. And I am ready to put my pistol grip on. Just goes on just like that. You don't want to put it on backwards, otherwise it's not going to work. So it goes like that. And then we use our other Allen tool. There's a little bolt in there that's going to snug our pistol grip down. I guess there are other grips you might be able to get for this thing, but this is the only grip I've ever seen for it. But anyway, there's that. Now another thing you can do is thread this off. This is just for maintenance. You can clean the barrel, make sure it's surges clean in there, not rusty. Thread your forearm hand grip back on. Just to check it, make sure that you don't have cobwebs or rust and things like that. You can also undo this and thread this thing out and clean it, but really, you don't really need to do that unless you're getting mud and whatnot caught up in there. So we're ready for our plates. Since we're on the drive side or the shooting side of the gun, that's the notched one. That's to fit your magazine drop. So, just sits on like so. We're going to grab our 6 screws right there, and we're going to take our Allen tool and we're going to stick them back on. And like I say, when you tighten these ones you want sort of tight, but you don't want to reef them down. You want to be able to undo them again, because you're going to have to clean your gun again. Every time you shoot your gun, you pretty much should be doing this. So, like I say, if you're going to own this gun, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? It's a great gun, but it's maintenance. It's a little tricky to get take apart and put back together, especially if you're not used to this kind of stuff. So there are definitely better models you can get, but this is a badass looking rifle. It works well. It's very reliable. If it's set up right, there's nothing wrong with it. So I do like it, but there are a little few things I'm not the biggest fan of, but I guess you never get everything you want. So I'm not really bitching. I'm just saying that, you know, I think if they took some things that I like about this rifle, and then they took the things I like about the 10/22 rifle, and they merged into one rifle, it would be my absolute favorite rifle of all times. So let me just put it that way. There's some things I don't like about the 10/22, and there's some things I don't like about this gun. But I love both those guns, period. So I think if you're going to get a 22, go with a 10. If you're a beginner, get a 10/22 Ruger, hands down, period. I don't care what anyone says. It's going to last you your life, as far as 22s go. So anyway, but this VTR is not bad. I just really like the looks of it. I like the shape, the feel, the weight. It's a heavy gun. It's almost all metal. So that's what I like about it. I've done a lot of raccoon killing with it, so it does the job. I have a 30-round magazine, in fact 2 30-round magazines for this, so it's pretty cool. Little banana mags. So that was the takedown and reassemble of the VTR 597. Yeah, you don't need that many tools for it. I had a few extra tools just in case on side, but didn't end up using them. That was the easy way of how to dismantle your VTR 597. Basically, it's a varmint tactical rifle. Hope you enjoyed.